And talking about endurance, the Nagpur riots, that case file is now unraveling. There were 50 arrests that happened. Among them, the Nagpur police have now zeroed in on someone who they believe is the alleged mastermind of this attack. The man who they claim has mobilized the crowd in the first place to torch the homes, the vehicles, and vandalize public property. 2 days after the Nagpur city witnessed violence in which 34 police personnel and 3 locals were injured, all signs, at least according to the police's FIR, seems to be pointing towards the fact that this could have been pre-planned and the mastermind was a local politician from that area called Faheem Khan. We'll get you the details of the main accused. This is what the FIR says, and I'm sort of reading out from the FIR details. They've identified accused number 1, A1, as Faheem Khan, who gathered a group of people outside the mosque and the police station in Nagpur. Faheem Khan then made what the FIR says were provocative statements against Hindu outfits, VHP and Bajrang Dal, who had undertaken a protest march earlier that afternoon. And he apparently, in those speeches, in those provocative speeches, he claimed that both VHP and Bajrang Dal had set ablaze a cloth along with Quran verses that were inscribed on it. Now that, of course, is blasphemous for ordinary Muslims. This was a false claim. This is what the FIR says, that Faheem Khan deliberately made a false claim that Quranic verses that were imprinted on a chadar were burnt in that rally that the VHP and the Bajrang Dal undertook earlier that afternoon. A claim which was refuted by the police. They've called it rumor mongering, fake news, flat out lies. That message, of course, then spread amongst the masses, after which they then had a counter protest later in the evening. And then, of course, the Hindu groups and the Muslim groups came face to face. There were violent clashes that happened a couple of days ago in 2 areas, at least in Nagpur, on the basis of this false rumor, which the police are now saying were allegedly floated by this main accused, Faheem Khan.
मैं पूछना चाहती हूँ, मुख्यमंत्री ने जो भड़काऊ भाषण दिया था संसद असेंबली के अंदर, उन पे कब कार्रवाई होगी? जो अपने घर की सोसाइटी को नहीं बचा पा रहे हैं, वो हमारे राज्य को क्या बचाएंगे? जो कानून व्यवस्था उनकी खुद की कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में लागू नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो बाकी कहाँ करेंगे? मैंने कल खुद मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर में पूछा कि क्या हमारे देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी ने अपॉइंटमेंट मांगा है या कोई चिट्ठी भेजी है, कुछ संपर्क हुआ है ये जो उनका ग्रेव है उसको हटाने के लिए? वहां से मुझे खबर आई है कि ऐसा कोई ना मांग हुई है भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से, ना एएसआई से मिलने की बात हुई है।
मैं महाराष्ट्र की जनता को शांति की अपील मैंने कल भी की थी, नागपुर की जनता को की थी, वो आज भी मैं कर रही हूँ। और मुझे लगता है आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ये माहौल जो है बदलने के लिए राज्य सरकार की तरफ से कोशिश होनी चाहिए। सलोखा बढ़े उसके लिए एक कदम आगे उठाने की कोशिश होनी चाहिए। सरकार ने जो वक्तव्य अलग अलग नेताओं की तरफ से आते हैं, जो भड़काऊ होते हैं, उनको रोकने का काम करना चाहिए।
वहाँ पे पहला सरकार को वो एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा, हाँ इंटेलिजेंस फेल्योर था, या अगर इंटेलिजेंस आपके पास थी फिर भी आपने एक्ट नहीं किया तो जानबूझ के आपने वो जो दंगल हुई वो आपने करवा दी, ऐसे हम सबको कहना पड़ेगा।
So yesterday, speaking in the assembly, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said that the attack was a pre-planned conspiracy. Now there's a political link that is emerging to the main accused, Faheem Khan. Here's why the state government, the police there believe that the March 17 violence did not appear to be a spur-of-the-moment event. Now, the FIR names 51 people and over 500 others have been mentioned as well. How was it possible to accumulate such a huge crowd in such large numbers and in almost no time? The FIR also mentions that the stones from the metro sites, there's some metro construction that's underway around the area where this violence ensued. Those stones from those metro sites, those construction sites, were used by the mob for pelting stones. Some of those videos have made the rounds of social media. They show trucks full of stones in the violence-hit area. There's also eyewitness accounts, including from some of those police personnel who were injured, who say that stones were thrown from rooftops of buildings around that area where the violence happened. Now the question again is, how did those stones find themselves all the way up to rooftops of buildings? Furthermore, even Maharashtra Chief Minister Fadnavis spoke about trolleys of stones. He said there were tons of trolleys of stones that were being brought into that area and that were recovered from the residences and the offices nearby post this spate of violence that was inflicted in Nagpur a couple of nights ago. So, in the multiple CCTV footages that have been released and accessed by various media channels, the rioters seem to be armed. Many of them have their faces covered. They have weapons. They have crowbars and lathis and stones. But the officers have not recovered much of this yet. Is there a possibility that these weapons have been quietly gotten rid of? Well, I guess that's something that the investigation will have to find out and answer. The FIR also mentions how the mobsters hurled abuses at the Hindu community and the police, and even misbehaved with some of the female police officers who were deployed. At least 3 DCP rank officers were injured during the violence, and one of them was attacked by an axe. How were these weapons so readily available? Now, as the BJP-led Maharashtra state government fights these fires over Aurangzeb, the ideologue, the mothership, the RSS, has tried to calm down some tempers. While condemning the violence that happened in Nagpur, RSS National Publicity in charge, Sunil Ambekar, has said that the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb is not relevant in the 21st century. Let's listen in to what Mr. Ambekar said, and then I'll open this up to our guests.
Is Aurangzeb relevant today? Do you think the tomb should be moved?
I think not relevant. See, any type of violence is not good to the health of the society, and I think police are have taken the cognizance of it, and so I think they will go into the details.
All right, let's do a quick face-off on this. Tuhin Sinha here in our studios, national spokesperson of the BJP. Anish Gawande is spokesperson of the NCP Sharad Pawar faction. Let me start with you, Tuhin. So that was Mr. Ambekar from Maharashtra, RSS spokesperson, saying he doesn't believe that Aurangzeb is relevant for this day and age.
Well, Sunil Ambekar ji is absolutely right. Aurangzeb is the original ISIS, and ISIS mentality has no relevance in the contemporary civilized world. But when an Abu Azmi comes out and purposely glorifies Aurangzeb with the sole intent of provoking the Hindu community, when Sanjay Raut, calls the tomb of Aurangzeb as Shaurya Bhumi, definitely, there is some amount of provocation which cannot be ignored. Now, the point is, these riots were clearly pre-planned. They were planned because Modi ji plans to be, he's scheduled to be in Nagpur at the end of the month. He's scheduled to be at the RSS head office, headquarters. So these riots were very clearly planned, and there was an attempt to remanufacture the stone pelting which Kashmir had witnessed 7 or 8 years ago. From all the accounts which are, from all the information that is available, women were assaulted, women police officers were in fact, insulted, they were dragged, and all of those information clearly point towards a jihadi mindset, the Aurangzeb mindset, which we are fighting against.
So,
just 10 seconds, the main
question
person
also needs to be asked. I'll get to the main person in 1 second. I'll ask Mr. Gawande also about that. But the question that needs to be asked is, 500 people appear out of nowhere. There are trolleys and trolleys of stones that were brought in, which is what the Chief Minister said in the Assembly. Was this not an intel failure? How did the police not have a clue about it?
Let me tell you this with responsibility, that for every one such episode that you see in Nagpur, there are 99 such episodes which are intelligence agencies are successfully circumventing. That's the point which I'm trying to make. The Aurangzeb mindset, the mentality, the ISIS mindset and mentality is present among certain sections of people, and that needs to be exorcised completely.
I want to ask Mr. Gawande, so here's the profile of the main accused. His name is Faheem Khan. He represents a political party, a minor political party, aptly named, I guess, called Minorities Democratic Party. He contested the 2024 Lok Sabha elections from Nagpur against Nitin Gadkari in that Lok Sabha seat. He calls himself as the city president of the Minorities Democratic Party. He's a resident of Sanjay Bagh Colony in Nagpur. Now, my point is, if this is a man who has contested elections, was cleared by the Election Commission of India to contest elections, and this is trying to mainstream a violent brutalist from the 17th century, so much so, the police FIR is now claiming that he spread a false rumor, saying that there were Quranic verses that were imprinted on a chadar which was set on fire, which is what started and inflamed these passions and then brought these people out onto the streets. Why should this be condoned? Why should anybody be an apologist for this man, Faheem Khan?
Who is an apologist for Faheem Khan? Did he contest an election on an MBA ticket? He contested an election not only against Nitin Gadkari, he contested an election against our candidate as well. It's all fair and fun to say that he supports us or that he's allied with us, but the reality is he contested against us as much as he did against them. Zaka, I want to remind you that even right now, 10 police stations in Nagpur have still had curfew orders imposed. The situation remains tense. The Chief Minister has appealed just a few minutes ago, actually, in another program with Jayant Patilji, my state president, for calm and said that there should be calm restored. Section 192 of the BNS says that incitement to riot is an offense, and we must all refrain from making any statements, blaming any community that could incite violence further. There's no need to do this right now.
No, but Anish, can I ask you a question? Has your party or your alliance partners, the Sena UBT, Congress Party, put out a statement condemning Faheem Khan and what he's allegedly said and done 2 nights ago in Nagpur, which the police are saying is what led to this in the... No, have you specifically mentioned this man?
I'm specifically mentioning this man as the national spokesperson for the NCPSP on your channel. I condemn Faheem Khan. Is that enough for you?
Okay. Tuhin?
Well, no, but I also want to ask.
Okay, let him finish. Okay.
Zaka,
what do you want to
ask also, because Tuhin is here with me. Nitish Rane made incredibly inflammatory speeches. The Chief Minister himself condemned these speeches today and said that ministers should act with propriety and said that this is not the culture of Maharashtra. I will condemn everybody, but can we please lower these temperatures? The fanning of communal flames helps nobody, and it certainly doesn't help us. When you say that we're fanning these flames, you do know that we lost an election really badly because we were perceived as being anti-Hindu, right? So why would I do this purposely? You can take me for many things, but me and my party are not idiots. Nobody is glorifying Aurangzeb.
Okay.
Nobody is glorifying Faheem Khan. What we are saying is there has been an intelligence failure. I will not drag up the Chief Minister in this. As Tuhin said, the Maharashtra police is an incredibly capable force. There are several attempts that may have been prevented, and this is one that let slip through. But we must question, if the Prime Minister is coming to Nagpur at the end of the month, we cannot let such instances go unnoticed. We cannot let such lapses continue. So I think this is something that needs to be taken seriously.
Okay, to respond. I mean, why should Anish or his party or anybody from the MVA come across? First of all, none of them have done it, and second of all, what do they get politically speaking if they were to, fawn over or condone what has happened in Nagpur and the role of this man, Faheem Khan?
Let more information tumble out about this man called Faheem Khan. There is every likelihood that he's a proxy of one of the India Alliance parties.
But Anish is saying that's a complete red herring. That's what he just said 30 seconds ago.
He may not belong to NCP. He may be one of the alliance partners, a proxy for one of the alliance partners. My point is, I think all parties across Maharashtra and across the country need to be more unequivocal in condemning a monster like Aurangzeb. The point is, even in countries like France, in Germany, in Austria, now by way of legislation, you cannot glorify the sins of Hitler. Then how in a country like India you have people who always are ready to give to be an apologist for Aurangzeb? I think there is a larger point over here, and all of these parties need to take an unequivocal stand.
Who are these apologists? Is Mr. Pawar an apologist?
I just named
Is Mr. Uddhav Thackeray an apologist? Who are these apologists you are talking about?
Sanjay Raut, one of the senior most leaders of UBT, on the morning of which, on the night, barely 12 hours before the riots broke out, Sanjay Raut used the sentence, the tomb is a Shaurya Bhumi. That's what he said.
This is slightly ridiculous because one, he called it a Shaurya Sthal to remember that somebody who offended the dignity of Maharashtra had to be shamed in Maharashtra and buried here. That's why he called it a Shaurya Sthal. And I certainly don't think that BJP, whose ideological mentors are Golwalkar, Guruji and Savarkar, who have used the most foul language for Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, should be pretending to be the saviors of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj today. Don't tell the NCP, SP and other parties in Maharashtra, which have continuously fought for the glory of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, that we are glorifying some Aurangzeb.
No, but Anish, the issue... One second. Anish, the issue is, as Tuhin has been saying, you don't hear people glorifying Hitler or a mausoleum for Hitler in Germany, right? So the point is, why then should there be a mausoleum for someone who was such a brutalist in Maharashtra and killed so many lakhs of Marathas?
The tradition of Maharashtra is different from
what is different? Please explain.
Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's grandson, Shahu Maharaj I, also went to Aurangzeb's grave and did not demolish it. For 111 years after that man died, the Maratha Empire reigned in Maharashtra and they did not demolish the grave because it was a symbol of the Mughal Empire's failure to conquer Maharashtra. This is the Shiva Shahu Phule Ambedkar Maharashtra. that respects history, that understands history, and keeps history there as a reminder of what happened.
Okay.
We don't want
So,
to
Tuhin, you guys want to raise down the
I
Mazar.
think-
You guys have no idea of Maratha history. That's
I
what
think
Anish
it's
and Party are saying.
I think it's a very bizarre logic, that Aurangzeb's tomb is the symbol of Shivaji's, Shaurya. I think it's just bizarre logic. That's a very roundabout way of glorifying Shivaji. But then, hats off to the India Alliance. They can go to any extent. My point, once again, I come back to the main point. The fact is, this is a revivalist age. A lot of things which we accepted while we were growing up, people today are challenging it. They are not ready to give the same respect to monsters like Aurangzeb. And this is where the India Alliance needs to catch up with the sentiments of the people.
No, but
and
here's the thing, Tuhin. No. When you say, one second, Anish, one second. When you say revising history, why should, and I asked this earlier also in the program, why should modern day 21st century Muslims, including Muslims in Maharashtra, pay for a bigoted tyrant in the 17th century or in the 16th century? Why?
There is no question of them
One
paying
second,
for it.
let him answer.
There is no questioning the question of paying for it. They are, if at all, they are paying.
One second, Anish. One second. Let Tuhin finish.
There is no question of modern day, Muslims being penalized for the sins of Aurangzeb. Point is, today you have people like Faheem Khan, proteges of Aurangzeb, disciples, of Aurangzeb who still believe in that mentality. And if at all certain sections are demonized, it is because of people like Faheem Khan. Now, we still don't have complete information about him. I still believe he's a proxy of the India Alliance, which we will know in the time to come.
Okay, Anish, again, I want to go back to that German example. They were talking about the AfD in the recent German elections. This is a political party which at one point, not now, but at one point, used to, look the other way about Hitler's sins of omissions and commissions. And they were ostracized. They were not a mainstream political party for 75 years. Tuhin has a point and his party has a point as to why should mainstream political parties in Maharashtra eulogize Aurangzeb. I mean, I can name I don't want to, but I can name the politicians who went to his bazaar. Were they not from mainstream parties in Maharashtra?
Where are you drawing this eulogizing from? Firstly, the fact that Abu Azmi makes that speech about Aurangzeb the same day that Dhananjay Munde is fired is suspicious. The fact that Devendra Fadnavis ji riles up this controversy the same day that they can't increase the Ladki Bahin payout from 1,500 to 2,000.
Anish, have not. No. All of those I take. All of those I take. But Anish, have not mainstream politicians from mainstream parties gone to the Mazar of Aurangzeb. Please tell me yes or no.
No, they have not.
They have not.
Our firm political position has been the ASI is under you, the state government is under you, the central government is under you. Remove the grave tomorrow. 3 weeks you've been doing this tamasha for what? The RSS has said.
There is a party called the AIMIM, which, if I remember correctly, used to have an MLA. Used to have an MLA in the Maharashtra Assembly.
Even Akbaruddin Owaisi
went to the Mazar of Aurangzeb. Why should such a party, or any party for that matter, this man Faheem Khan comes from a party called Minorities Democratic Party. I have not heard of them, but he apparently contested the 2024 Lok Sabha election. Why should he be allowed to?
Zaka, is Jayant Patil the Home Minister of Maharashtra?
No, he's not.
Is my party holding the Chief Minister's chair?
No, you're not.
Any ability to do anything against any of these people?
No, I asked Tuhin those questions. Obviously, they are in government, they have to do it. I have asked him that.
What more do you need me to do?
No.
The reality is that this is a distraction.
Okay.
There's no reason to be talking about Aurangzeb like the RSS said.
All right.
And I want to say one thing. The respect for Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is such that you don't respect the fact that his grandson also went to that grave.
Okay, I got to leave it at that. Anish Gawande, Tuhin Sinha.
No.
I'm completely out of time. We've hit the half-hour mark on the show.